I'm also very happy to talk to you on breatheheavy.com because this is a pop website, and I really want to express to all of the young people that visit your site that this was pop music of America during that time.
What is up? What is up, guys? I'm Jordan Miller. I'm the owner and founder of Breathe Heavy. I'll spare you more of my singing because today I'm gonna take you on a trip down memory lane. In this video, I'm going to relive, essentially, the interview that I did with Lady Gaga. It was over the phone. She was currently in Amsterdam at the time promoting Cheek to Cheek. And I thought it'd be really fun to revisit this interview and also, for the very first time ever, play the audio for you in full. What's so fun about this is it's the first time I'm listening to the audio in 5 or 6 years since the interview took place. But before we dive into story time, let's play that intro. So what's so fun about this is I haven't heard the audio recording of that interview since I did the interview, which was in 2014. It's super fun to look back on myself and see how timid and shy I was in that interview. Understandably so. I'm interviewing one of the most iconic pop stars on the planet. And it's also really fun to see how far Gaga's come from that interview. There was a question in there that I asked her of where she sees herself in 5 years.
Where do I see myself in 5 years? Oh my gosh.
Completely forgot about that, and so it's super fun to see what she says. But before I play the audio, I'd just like to give you a little bit of a backstory of how this interview came to be and just my thoughts on it. Huge shout out to Gaga's current manager, Bobby Campbell. He's the one that actually set up the interview in the first place. So Bobby, in case you didn't know, is actually a big Britney Spears fan. Cue the clip of Gaga singing Baby One More Time for his birthday. And I'd reached out to him at one point all those years ago asking if I could interview Gaga. And I honestly never expected that he would agree to that. And it wasn't long before he came through. I asked if she would take a selfie holding a sign that said breatheheavy.com. I fully expected Bobby to be like, bro, you're getting an interview, be cool. But literally a couple hours later, what just appears in my inbox is the selfie. Like, I wish there was a camera on me at that moment in time because that was hard for me to even process, and it was just so cool of her to do that. That week that he told me that the interview was going to happen was super crazy for me because I was dating someone at that time and we had just broken up, so my mind was like all over the place in terms of like heartbreak and just feeling really upset. And then to get this amazing news, it was like total whiplash. And that's something that I actually bring up in the interview. I tell Gaga that I had a roller coaster of a week and that I was in love with somebody and we had just broken up. And one thing that has always stuck with me is that she actually really appreciated that I had said that to her because, as she says in the audio clip that you'll hear soon, that's a sign of a great interviewer when you display vulnerability. That has always stayed with me all these years later, and is something that I continue to try to practice, and being vulnerable, which is one of the goals of my YouTube channel, is to let you guys in on who I am as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as someone who loves fitness, and just all the kinds of things that I enjoy. Little did she know that that was a very inspiring statement that she made. So Gaga, I know you're not watching this, but regardless, just putting good vibes out there for you. Much love. Another reason why the breakup part of the interview is extremely important is because it comes back up in a couple weeks after this interview. So at the very end of our interview, she tells me to keep my chin up and whoever broke my heart, fuck it. A couple weeks later, after the interview, I actually got to meet Gaga in person here in Las Vegas where I live. She was performing Cheek to Cheek with Tony Bennett, and so I got to go and meet her backstage after her show. Here's the photo that I actually took with Gaga and Tony Bennett. And what was so cool about that encounter with Gaga in person was that as I was walking up to her, I remember thinking that there's zero way she's going to know who I am or remember the interview that we had done together. And I thought that because she's so famous and busy, and so, you know, she's probably doing a lot of press, that she's just not gonna remember that moment. But I know for a fact that she remembered the interview that we did together because as I was walking up to her, I had made up with my then boyfriend, so we got back together and he was with me. And she pointed at him and she said, "Is this the guy that broke your heart?" And I just stood there and I was like, like, like Gaga is literally about to put the smackdown on my ex. And so that was just like, honestly, an incredible moment, and one that I look back on with a great fondness. All right, so I'm bringing this plane home. I'm about to play you the audio of our 15-minute interview. And there's a couple of things in this interview that I want you to pay close attention to. One, she says that she was burnt out at some point after putting out Just Dance and that taking off, and then she was kind of in this pop cycle grind and playing jazz music, which she calls the original form of pop music, which is one of the reasons why she agreed to do the interview in the first place, is because Breathe Heavy had just turned from a Britney Spears fan site into a pop music website. And so she wanted to get the word out about jazz to pop lovers. Jazz, she's allowed to kind of be a little bit more true to her roots and doesn't have to necessarily do all of the choreography and everything that just comes with like a big pop show. So she was really refreshed and revitalized in this interview and during that era. And I did ask her if she had plans to put out a follow-up, a second Cheek to Cheek of sorts, and she didn't have any plans in the immediate future for that. But she did say that releasing a second jazz album is something that she would like to do in the future, and we're 6 years down the road from this interview and when Cheek to Cheek came out. I would actually really love to see her put out another jazz record in the near future. I know that's probably a little bit of an unpopular opinion. I think that a lot of diehard Little Monsters just want her to continue to put out pop record after pop record, but there was something so refreshing about her take on jazz, and it did introduce new audiences to jazz music, and I thought that that was really special. If she is loving it, then of course I'm just going to love it too. Also in this interview, she talks about living in the moment, and then I also bring up a rumor that was floating around at that time about her and Britney Spears doing a collaboration together. And so I found that answer really interesting too. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm super excited for you to hear the interview. And also a huge thank you to Bobby and Gaga for helping me with this career milestone. It is something that I think about frequently, and I'm looking forward to hopefully being able to recreate that magic in a bottle again and do a follow-up interview. Was that subtle? All right guys, thank you again and enjoy the interview.
Hello?
Gaga, what's going on?
Hi, Jordan. How are you?
I'm great.
Afternoon, morning? What time is it there?
It's 9:30 a.m. I'm in Las Vegas, and I'm obviously super stoked to chat with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Are you in Vegas going to see Britney's show?
Well, actually, coincidentally I grew up here, and so yeah, so it was just kind of perfect that she wanted to do a show here, and I heard that she's going to extend it. So it was very coincidental. And at the time when my site was just about Britney, and I found out she was coming here, I was like, fuck it, I quit my job, and I was going to do Breathe Heavy full time. And ever since then, I have expanded. And so now I'm writing about other artists, including you, of course.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's really wonderful.
Thank you very much. So I have about 10 questions or so for you, and I'm ready when you are.
Okay, great. Let me just make sure the volume's good on the phone so I can hear you.
Okay. Are you able to hear me okay?
Okay.
Okay, great. So first of all, just in general, how are you doing?
I'm doing so great. I'm so happy. I'm on the road, still promoting Art Pop with the Art Rave. It's been fantastic every night. We've been playing sold-out shows all over the world, and the crowd's been wild. And, the party is just really unlike any other show we've done before. It's me making, art out of the mess of my life during that time and turning it into these colorful, beautiful, psychedelic dreams. And many of the fans feel very connected to it. So it's been a very nourishing for my soul. I've been having a great time doing it. And then on top of it, I'm singing with Tony Bennett on this other project, Cheek to Cheek. So every single day is a new surprise, a new blessing. I'm happier than ever.
So
how are you?
I'm better than ever too. I actually had a crazy roller coaster week, and this is just something that, talking to you is just awesome. So thank you.
Well, good. I'm glad I could help make your roller coaster go up.
That's for sure. Well, speaking of Cheek to Cheek, you said recently that this is the most important album you've ever recorded, and that being a pop musician at times was exhausting and almost caused you to stop making music entirely. So tell me a little bit about that and your experience transitioning from kind of being focused mostly on pop to now having both in your life.
Well, I first became discovered in the downtown New York scene, writing, sort of these glam rocky pop songs. And then when I moved to Los Angeles, my music became much more dance focused because the publishers were really excited about this young, quirky New York songwriter that was making these sort of electro clash influenced dance songs. So basically what happened is once Just Dance took off, I didn't do anything but just put my head down and get to work, and I never looked back. Mm-hmm. But after many years of doing that, 6 years straight, I began to really burn out, and I mentioned many times to people around me how much I needed to slow down, how I needed more time for creative time to spend more focus on honing in my craft, building myself as a vocal, continuing to study as a musician. You don't just learn about music in the beginning and then, you're set for life. Mm-hmm. You're constantly learning, and I was feeling as though I couldn't continue to grow because I was just on this endless machine, a money-making machine. Uh-huh. So now what's been so wonderful with Cheek to Cheek is that I get to return to my roots. Mm-hmm. And I started singing jazz when I was 13. I fell in love with the Great American Songbook. So this has given me some time to kind of, not put halt on my pop career because I'm still promoting art pop with the Art Rave, but to be able to just spend some time just singing, my full body, no choreography, recording an album with no auto-tune, no tracks, just musicians playing at the same time while we press record and getting it right. And, of course, singing with the legendary Mr. Tony Bennett has been a humbling experience for me. I'm also very happy to talk to you on BreatheHeavy.com because this is a pop website, and I really want to express to all of the young people that visit your site that this was pop music of America during that time. These are the most famous pop songs in the whole world. They have been done over and over and over. That's why they're called standard, because they have become standard songs to be sung by many artists. So I appreciate you taking this time for the interview because I really want to expose young fans as much as I can to jazz. It is something that healed my soul at a young age, and I hope that they love it as much as I do.
That's awesome. And speaking of these pop classics and how it's healed you, one of the things that I had mentioned with this roller coaster of a week is I was in love with somebody, but we broke up this week. And so I used songs like Sophisticated Lady and your performance of Bang Bang to kind of be able to relay my feelings through music and kind of be able to cope with what was going on. And so for me, those are some of my favorites. And I'm curious to know what songs are most important to you off this new album.
Well, it means so much to me. Thank you for sharing that story with me, your personal story. That's a sign of a great interviewer who can be vulnerable. For me, actually, Bang Bang, an interesting backstory to that song is that my ex-boyfriend, Luke Connell, was also the best friend of Brian Newman, the trumpet player, who I play that song with. We haven't seen or spoken to him in almost 2 years now. So that performance was extremely emotional for us. It was a lament, a goodbye, extremely painful. And I think that that's what makes the performance very honest. That you have his ex-girlfriend and his ex-best friend playing to one another. And there's something that was quite heart-wrenching about it for both of us. And for Lush Life, this song is autobiographical for me. I, have not shied away from being honest about struggling with, needing to drink or take drugs since I was a young 19-year-old girl. But I have found my sobriety through my relationship with Tony Bennett because he helped me to heal through singing these songs. I could really get through Lush Life when we were singing it, but he just told me to breathe and to allow the story to come through in the music. And in that way, then you no longer beat yourself up about your weaknesses. Your weaknesses become your triumphs to the song. I also love Sophisticated Lady, just like you do, because Tony sang that song specifically to me as an answer to Lush Life. It's my favorite to listen to on the album because, it's just in a strange way, every lyric is him letting me know that he just really understands me.
So do you worry that if you begin to focus more on pop music again, that you will kind of lose that sobriety that you're feeling so liberated by?
No, not at all. I think it's a daily struggle every day for anyone that has, gone through those sorts of things. And I'm not entirely sober, I just, I am practicing meditation and self-control, and I'm very focused on my career. I feel like it's the same all over again. I have that hunger in my belly, especially since this is a new genre for me. It's almost like, I'm putting out my first record. I want to make Tony so proud, and I certainly will continue to write pop songs. I can consider jazz to be pop, like I said. That's why in the Grammys they call it the traditional pop category for some of those nominations. So fear not. It is not the music that controls my expression of my solitude. It is me. And I feel very happy with my loneliness now. Like Rilke, the tattoo on my arm, my solitude is something that strengthens my art. I've embraced it.
That's exactly how I feel at the moment, too. So it sounds like you're experiencing a wave of freedom. Is that something that you can say is true?
Yes, I feel very liberated, very happy, like a tiger let out of a cage, or a bird flying for the first time in a long time. Maybe like the phoenix that climbs up the path in GUI. My wings aren't broken anymore. And I've been working hard towards this moment. And I think it's an important message to tell my fans, even if you're going through a dark time, don't ever give up, because you can always make your way back to the other end of that circle and find your happiness again.
I agree with that. And so, are you currently writing or recording any music at the moment, or are you focused on touring and performing?
I'm focused on touring and performing. I'm focused on promoting Cheek to Cheek. I'm really enjoying doing that because I'm very well rested and very happy. So it's been very exciting to be able to talk about all the great composers on the album, like George Gershwin and Irving Berlin, Rodgers and Hart. It's been exciting. So I would say I would like to focus on that for now. However, I'm always writing music, so I have begun to write new songs, and that will happen in time.
I read that you're interested actually in recording a second jazz album. So is that something you'd like to pursue, or something you can see down, put on the back burner for later?
Nothing's on the back burner right now. Everything that has been wonderful in the relationship with Bobby is that, this place that we don't, have any rules when it comes to when we're going to do things. It's all about the music, all about the voice, all about making sure that the focus is on my talent. And so who's to say when the next jazz record will come out? all I know is this won't be my last.
Oh, awesome. And one question that I love to ask musicians versus people who are purchasers of music is what they consider success in the music industry today. Whether that is, because so many people focus on album sales versus the song itself or the impact. So what do you consider success in music today?
Well, I think success comes in a lot of different forms. I think that chart success is incredible, and when it happens, my gosh, it's life-changing for the artist. It's a humbling experience. I feel a tremendous sense of gratitude for the tremendous record sales I've had over the years. But when an album doesn't sell as much, I think that the success is in its influence. And I've been very excited to see the way that art pop has influenced other things. Like the way I see Jeff Koons all over New York City. And the way that I just pass through different cities and I see the fans sporting old classical art on their clothing. I see art popping up more and more everywhere that I go. That sense of creative freedom, that was more important to me than anything. It's always about the message. So I would say both things are success. And, you can't discount either or the other. And no matter what happens, I'm just always happy with the outcome because I just feel blessed to have a career at all. I feel happy that I have a voice in the world, and I feel happy that I get to make music every day and be with my fans. That is the success for me.
That's actually Jeff Koons had an exhibit in Vegas not too long ago that was stunning, and art is really popping up, all over the place. And now that I'm aware of his work, it kind of stuck out to me, and it was just stunning. I wish you would have seen it here.
Well, he had a lovely retrospective also that I have had the privilege to look at, and I was so excited when I saw that my art pop CD cover was in there. This is what it's all about. For me, that is a success. Maybe not in the eyes of everyone, but I have a tremendous respect for artists that have come before me, and to have him make such an iconic sculpture, to have him validate me and create a artifact of my work for the fans, this is very successful for me. I really wanted to have a strong relationship with the art world, and I do now. So I have a very personal happiness about it.
That's awesome. Well, to kind of wrap things up, I have two more questions, if that's okay. One of them is, of course, I'd love to ask about a rumor that floated around for months about you and Britney Spears recording a song together, and at the time it was like confirmed, whatever, but nothing obviously has come about. So is that something that was ever in the works, or is that something that you would ever be open to doing in the future?
Well, we've discussed it. I think Britney's a lovely girl, but there's nothing in the works at the moment.
Okay, got you. And where do you see yourself in 5 years from right now?
Where do I see myself in 5 years? Oh my gosh. Well, I suppose I'll be singing. I'll be singing, I'll be making music. I hope to be just like Tony Bennett, He told me, Duke Ellington told him, number one, don't quit. Number two, listen to number one. So that's my life motto now, and I'm just living in the moment. It's nice to just be with the music.
And what is something that you would like to tell the Little Monsters?
I would just like to thank them for their loyalty and their devotion, for their open minds, for sharing their creativity and talent with me and inspiring me, by staying by my side through all the ups and downs, and for supporting me as I take a turn into jazz. It really shows a devotion and a loyalty that I feel gratitude for every single day. So a big I love you to them, and I wish everyone on your site, both Gaga fans and non-Gaga fans, a lot of health, happiness, and peace. I wish for this industry to be it's old school as the happiness I've been feeling with Tony Bennett.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a lot of class, a lot of elegance, and a dash of charm.
Gaga, I cannot thank you enough for spending a few minutes with me and chatting, and I just greatly, greatly appreciate it. And I hope one day that we can do an interview in person, and I can shake your hand.
Yes.
And I would.
I'll give you. I'm not a shake hands kind of girl. I'm a hug kind of girl.
Okay, great. That'd be awesome. So,
wonderful. So I'll see you soon then.
Okay, great.
And have a wonderful day, okay?
Thank you.
Chin up. Don't worry. Whoever broke your heart, fuck it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Okay, bye.
All right, take care.